Welcome to the Hope Unlocked podcast. I'm your host, Kristin Kurtz, and I'm also the founder of New Wings Coaching. I help and empower wild-hearted and adventurous women of faith feeling caged and stuck unlock their true purpose and potential, break free from limitations, and thrive with confidence, courage, and hope. If you're curious to learn more about coaching with me, head to newwingscoaching.net and be sure to explore the show notes for ways to connect with me further. Get ready to dive in as we uncover empowering keys and insights in this episode. So tune in and let's unlock hope together. Hi, I'm Kristin Kurtz. Welcome to the Hope Unlocked podcast. Today, I want to share something deeply personal. It's part of my story. It's a journey that has taken me from brokenness and instability to freedom, healing, and a new legacy. My story is proof of Genesis 50:20, which says, "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." My prayer is that as I share my story, you'll see how God can rewrite yours too. Growing up, my life was so chaotic. Between the ages of 10 and 14, my family moved more than a dozen times. Each move meant starting over, new schools, new towns, leaving behind any sense of belonging or security. I was the oldest of three sisters, and I felt the weight of holding everything together in the middle of instability. That chaos left so many scars. Abuse, rejection, and trust issues shaped my view of the world and myself. I turned to eating disorders to feel some sense of control, and eventually addiction to alcohol and drugs became my way to numb the pain. I hated myself. I hated God, even though I didn't grow up in church or didn't even know him. I felt empty and meaningless. I was completely broken. But God. Everything changed when I hit rock bottom. Addiction had me in chains, and I felt that there was no way out. But in that moment of despair, I cried out to God, and he showed up. In a miraculous moment, he delivered me from addiction. It was an instant and undeniable move of God. For the first time, I felt the weight lift and saw a glimmer of hope. And here's what's amazing. One of those chaotic, painful moves had led me to meet my husband. I didn't know it at the time, but meeting him was part of God's plan for my story. He isn't yet walking in the faith, and we met years before God rescued me, but our relationship became a foundation during some of my hardest years. And because of that meeting, I now have my two incredible young boys, or I would say young men. They are nothing short of miracles. My boys represent a new beginning, a generational shift. They've never had to experience the instability, rejection, or chaos I faced. God has given them a legacy of hope and freedom, something I never thought was even possible. Even after being delivered from addiction, the journey hasn't been easy. It felt like the enemy kept coming in like a flood, crisis after crisis, trying to pull me back in despair. But God continued to work my life. Slowly, he began to heal the deep wounds I carried, replacing pain with purpose. I learned that the scars of my past weren't just for me to overcome. They were tools God would use to help others. He was breaking chains that had held me and my family for generations. The rejection and shame that once defined me became stepping stones to freedom. Through God's restoration, I began to walk my calling, helping other women unlock their potential, find their voices, and step boldly in their God-given purpose. My pain became a platform for unlocking hope and healing in others. So today, I just celebrated a birthday yesterday, and I just have been doing a lot of reflection. I'm standing in awe of what God has done. The instability and brokenness of my past no longer defines me. Instead, my life has been transformed into a testimony of God's faithfulness. My boys are living proof of that transformation. They've been given a new legacy, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to raise them in freedom and hope. My story is a reminder that no matter how hard and how dark it gets, God can take what the enemy meant for harm and turn it into good. If you're feeling stuck or hopeless today, know this: your story isn't over. I'm going to say that again. Your story isn't over. The same God who rescued me is ready to rewrite your story too. Thank you for listening to this episode of Hope Unlocked. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you. Let's keep walking towards freedom together.